Okay, here are the answers to spring break checkup number 2. We have 64 students in the library. 10 of them are asleep, 20 are playing chess, 41 are listening to music. How many students are doing both? Well, I hope you're thinking about a Venn diagram where we have a circle for people who are playing chess and people who are listening to music. Now, there are 64 kids altogether in here, but 10 of them are doing neither. 10 of them are sleeping, so we got 10 of them that aren't part of the chess and music circles. So that means that there are 54 in the circles. There are 54 kids in the circles. We know we have 20 chess players and 41 music people. That's a total of 61 activities that are happening. 20 playing chess, 41 listening to music. So there are 61 activities happening, but they're happening with only 54 people. There's only 54 people doing those. So that means that there are 7 extras, 7 extra activities, which means 7 people are doing both things. Now, if the whole chess circle was 20, and you know 7 is here, then this has to be 13. And if that's all 41, then this has to be 34. If you add up 13, 7, 34, and 10, you should get 64, and you do. So now we can answer the question. How many students are doing both? 7 students are doing both. If a student is selected at random, what is the probability that he is just listening to music? Now, just listening to music would be 34 of the 64. That does reduce, so 17 over 32 would be the answer to that one. Remember, when you do probability, your denominator is the total. The total is 64. Don't be finagling around with that. That's the total. Okay. Now we've got some marbles or something, candies, something that we're taking out of these bags. And we got blue, green, red, yellow. And we want to know the probability of getting 1 green and 1 yellow. Now, what makes this problem a little bit more complicated is that when we say we're going to get green and yellow, we could get green here and yellow here, or we could get yellow and green. So you need to think about both of these scenarios. So let's say we're going to get green first. So that would be 0.3 times and means times, yellow 0.1. So that's 0.03. Now what about yellow and green? That's 0.08. So we could get green and yellow, or we could get yellow and green, which means we take these two individual answers and we add them. So the answer to the question is 0.11. 0.11. There's an 11% probability that I will get a green and a yellow. You got to do that in both orders. Both orders. Because they're different cases. Okay. Now I want to pick some cards from a deck. Let's see, I'm picking 4 cards. So my denominator is going to be 52C4. That's the denominator when you pick 4 cards out of 52. Now I want to get exactly 3 diamonds. That means I have to get 3 diamonds and another card. Okay? That's not a diamond. So how many diamonds are in the deck? 13. And I'm going to pick 3 of them. So I'm going to start by picking my diamonds. There are 13 diamonds. I'm going to pick 3 of them. And so times something that's not a diamond. Well, if it's not a diamond, then what is it? A club, a heart, or a spade. So there are 13 of each of those, so 39 total cards that are not diamonds, and I'm going to choose one of them. So there are 13 diamonds, I'm picking 3, and there are 39 other cards that aren't diamonds, and I'm picking 1, because I need a total of 4 cards. So let's see what we get here when we put that in. Remember, you can answer as a decimal or fraction, whichever flips your switch. I got 0.0412 as the decimal, and my calculator won't change that to a fraction, so I'm just going to leave it as 0.0412, but you can certainly write that as a fraction if you prefer. Okay. All right, we have M and N, and we know the probability of M, the probability of N, and the probability of M and N. 0.6, 0.5, 0.3. All right, here we go. Start right here because that means M and N. M and N means the overlap, the football right here, so that's 0.3. Now, if the whole M circle is 0.6, then this part has to be 0.3. And if the whole N circle is 0.5, then this part has to be 0.2. Now, if you look at what you've got there, 0.3, 0.3, 0.2, that only adds up to 0.8, which means we have 0.2 out here. Now, this particular question, there's only one question. It says, find the probability of M and not N. So again, think about it as things like you have, these are the people who like M&Ms. And these are the people who like noodles. So who are we looking for? The people who like M&Ms and they don't like noodles. So we want to like M&Ms, but we don't like noodles. So that's right here. That's these people right here. So the answer is 0.3. They like M&Ms, but they do not like noodles. The answer is 0.3. I went ahead and shaded it in so you could see, but the answer is not the shading. The answer is 0.3. That number right there. Okay, if Emerson gets up by 8, okay, you've got the problem, reading all through that. Okay, I hope you're thinking tree diagram for this guy. So the two things that are happening in the problem is we're getting up by 8 and we're doing our assignments. Since the question is find the probability that she won't do her assignments, that's the second piece of the problem. So the first branch, the first piece of the problem is she's up by 8 or she's not up by 8. Now it says in the problem that there's a 40% chance that she's up by 8, so there's a 60% chance that she isn't. It also says in the problem that if she's up by 8, there's a 76% chance that she'll do her assignments. And that means there's a 24% chance that she won't do her assignments. If she's not up by 8, she does her assignments 52% of the time, which means she doesn't do them 48% of the time. Now, the question, got to read it carefully, find the probability that she won't complete the assignment. So won't complete the assignment would be here and here. So we are going to multiply 0.40 times 0.24 0.096. And then we're going to multiply 0.60 times 0.48, 0.288. And then, since she can either do her assignment this way or do it this way, we're going to add those two numbers together, and we get 0.384. So the answer to the question is these two, this branch right here, this branch right here, multiply, and then add the two together, 0.384. That's the probability that she won't complete her assignment, because that's what the question asked. Okay, so now we've got a frequency diagram. So our data points are 2, 5, 8, and 9. And our frequencies are 3, 6, 1, and 4. And your job is to find the mean. Now remember, what this means is if you were to list out everything, you'd have 2 listed 3 times. You'd have 5 listed 6 times. This is the frequency, at frequency. This tells you how many times it happens. So 2 happens 3 times, 5 happens 6 times, and so on. So we need to add all those up. So if you think about it, I mean, certainly you can write them all out. So 2, 2, 2, there's 3 2s, and then 5, 5, 5, and so on. You can write them all out, or you can just think about it for a minute. 3 2s would just be 3 times 2. And then 6 5s would be 6 times 5. And 1 8, and 4 9s. So when I added that up, I got 80. So 3 times 2, 6 times 5, 1 times 8, 4 times 9, add them all up, I got 80. Now I have to divide by how many data points I have. Well, that's down here, kids. This tells you have 3 of those and 6 of those. So you got 9 so far. You have 1 of those, that's 10. And then you have 4 of those, so that's 14. And so 80 divided by 14, we can either get at that decimally and get 5.71, or we can just reduce the fraction. 80 divided by 14 is 40 over 7. So whichever way you want to do that. Okay. And then we have one more problem. We have 68 kids in the food club. And these 68 kids like bananas, apples, and oranges. 5 of them like everything, so there's those 5 right there. I'm going to label my circles here. 10 love only bananas, 12 love only apples, and 13 love only oranges. A student is chosen at random. Okay, so we can't really answer the questions until we fill in the rest of our Venn diagram. So remember how we do this is, I'm going to go ahead and call these X, Y, and Z. You can call them whatever you want. And then my equations, I don't have much room here. My equations will be 10 plus 5 plus X plus Y. That's 10, 5, X, Y. That's my B circle, so that's 30. And I'll do my A circle, which is 5 plus 12 plus X plus Z equals the 34. And then 5 plus 13 plus Y plus Z, 5, 13, Y, and Z equals 28. Now I'm going to clean those equations up a little bit. So that's 15. So X plus Y equals 15. Kids, come on, we're subtracting 15 from both sides. Moving this over. Now I'm going to move this over. So X plus Z is 17. Now I'm going to move this over. So Y plus Z is 10. Just doing the simplification. This makes 18, subtract 18, so Y and Z add up to 10. Now, I'm going to take these top 2 equations right here, these guys right here, and I'm going to multiply the second one by a negative. When I add those together, the x's disappear, and I have Y minus Z equals negative 2. Y minus Z equals negative 2. Now, I can add that to my bottom equation, so 2y equals 8, which means y equals 4. So this section of the graph is 4. Now remember, the whole b-ball added up to 30. So we have 10 and 4 and 5. That's 19. So x has to be 11. And then the whole A ball adds up to 34. So we have 16, 28. So this has got to be 8. Check my arithmetic. Is that right? No. 6. Let me double check that again. 11 and 11, that's 22. Yep, that's right. Okay. And then this, if I did it right, this is a good check for me. I should have 28. So I have 9, and 6 is 15, and 13 is 28. So that looks good. Okay. Now, I wonder how many I have in here all together. So I'm going to go ahead and add up all these numbers, okay? So I'm going to add 10 and 11 and 12 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 13. And I got 61. So all these people are 61, which means there are 7 people that apparently don't like apples, bananas, or oranges. Now I can answer the questions. Here we go. What are the questions? Find the probability of choosing, I'm going to reach in and grab a kid. Find the probability of choosing a student who loves just bananas and apples. So just bananas and apples would be right here. Those are just bananas and apples. So that would be 11. So question A is 11 out of 68. It's a probability question. There's 68 total, and you want just bananas and apples, so that would be 11. And then B says, what's the probability you'll pick somebody who doesn't like any of it? Well, B will be 7 out of 68. Because there's 7 kids out here and 68 total. So 11 out of 68 and 7 out of 68 are the answers to that. Okay, good job.